I think BMW have just lost their minds because for some reason they've just given me the key to that. Whew, there is so much to unpack in this car. I don't know where to start. I mean, price and the range, I guess. Let's start with that. This machine will set you back just shy of $239,000. For that, you get 566 k's per charge, which is very impressive, and that's largely due to its 112 kilowatt hour battery pack, which is massive, but despite its mass, it still has a 0 to 100 time of 3.8 seconds. Now, regardless of your position on SUVs, or electric vehicles, or BMW, there's going to be something about this car, I promise you, that will raise your eyebrows. It's the first, oh good lord, let's start with a different angle. It's the first electric SUV to wear the motorsport badge, so it's got a stylistic and a performance reputation to fulfill. And let's start with the battery. At 112 kilowatt hours, it's twice the size of the battery in the Tesla Model 3. It's got uprated air suspension, uprated brakes, it's stupidly quick with its 2 electric motors riding on 22-inch wheels, of which there are 3 different wheel options to choose from, all included in the price. And speaking of included options, the iX M60 has a panoramic glass roof lighting up its airy, futuristic interior with 2 large displays front and center. It also has 4-zone air conditioning as standard, with ventilated front seats, as well as wireless Android CarPlay and Apple Auto, and all the BMW connectivity possible from traffic to weather to news, you name it. And because it sits on a 3-meter long wheelbase, there is masses of rear legroom and heaps of headroom even for tall passengers. It's got a fold-down armrest with cup holders, of course, even 2 USB ports on the back of each front seat. As for the boot, it's cavernous with 500 litres of room, big enough for a body, and you can drop the rear seats with the push of a button, giving up to 1,750 litres of space. Although it must be said it does not have any front storage compartment, and I couldn't even figure out how to open the bonnet. Plus the PSC is a somewhat average 41, and I expected a higher figure, but that's okay because I love what BMW have done with this vehicle's interior. Look how wild this interior is. I absolutely love it. They've got rid of all the buttons and have gone with a touchscreen display, 14.9 inches there, 12.3 inches here. It's all curved in one seamless unit. They've also got these bronze accents around the vents, and look at these Liberace-inspired crystal switches. It's just wild. I love it. You've got them on the doors as well to control the seats and the memory settings for the seats. It's just fantastically different. It's like BMW have let their designers go nuts. It's fantastic. I love it when car makers do that, because then you get things like this hexagonal or pentagonal, how many angles does it have? Steering wheel. It is the weirdest steering wheel I have literally ever laid my hands on. Honestly, this thing has every gadget imaginable. It's got everything from 2 USB points in the front, 4 in the back. It's got Android, Apple and CarPlay Auto, wireless charging right here, cup holders, this awesome wood grain effect, and I like wood grain because I'm actually an octogenarian in a 42-year-old's body. Don't tell anyone. It's fantastic. I love it. It's wild. But striking design both inside and out is only one part of this big Kinder surprise, with even starting the machine being an audio-visual experience. Created by none other than German composer and legend Hans Zimmer. Okay, let's chuck it into drive. You can tell I'm excited. I've got a goofy smile on my face. All right, let's go. It must be said that I am not a BMWologist. However, I do know that the M on this car stands for motorsport, and this thing has the stats to back up that letter. It has 455 kilowatts peak, and wait till you hear the torque stats. 1100 Newton meters of torque, and if you don't know what that means, to put it into perspective, we all know diesel engines have a lot of torque, right? Well, look at the Audi Q7 with its 6-litre turbocharged V12 diesel. Doesn't have as much torque as this. This has 100 Newton meters more torque than that. It's staggering. And despite its mass, it has a 112 kilowatt hour battery pack, as I said, 0 to 100, 3.8 seconds. I haven't tried it yet because I've been in a residential area, and I only just picked this car up this morning. And this is a big car navigating Auckland side streets. It's about that much shorter than 5 meters long. It's huge, and 2.5 tons. Which is why I'm staggered that its dual motors can move this massive vehicle up to speed. But 2.5 tons, it's a lot, it's heavy. But considering this thing has 112 kilowatt hours of battery capacity. I would have thought it'd be closer to 3 tons. That shows you how intensively BMW have worked to get that weight down low. Despite its massive battery, they've got the weight down to 2.5 tons. That in itself is pretty impressive. Ooh, easy Tiger, this thing wants to move. I'm gonna take this for a bit of a road trip later to see how it handles in the countryside and to see how accurate that 566 k's per charge really is. But in the meantime, I'm just going to get a feel for it on the city streets, and so far it feels amazing. I love how this vehicle makes me feel. I'm like at a royal performance and the world is on display for me. This thing turns heads. People are looking at this car. I'm not used to being in a car that turns heads like this. Oh, crikey. Okay, this thing wants to move. Far out. It does have 455 kilowatts at its disposal, like I mentioned, and I haven't had the chance to even put my foot down more than that much because I'm in Auckland, I'm in the city, which is really frustrating. So I'm gonna take this for a blast into the countryside later. But right now, I'm just gonna get a feel for it. And right now, I like how I feel driving it. I feel kind of disconnected from the driving experience, and that's probably a good thing because I'm in the city, and when I'm in the city, stuck in traffic, I wanna just glide, take my time, relax, in my Liberace buttoned Concorde on wheels. And that's what this thing is. It's quiet, it's so smooth, despite having M Sport suspension. It is so smooth, and that is because the suspension is adjustable. Oh, see, look at this, the car is slowing down because of that Audi that pulled out a little bit. It's slowing down for me. It has to be near impossible to crash this thing because it is always looking out for you. Amazing. Now let's talk about some of the features that this car comes with as standard. This comes with a Bowers & Wilkins sound system, which I'll be honest, I hadn't actually heard of that name before. It does sound a bit like a hardware store that went bust in the 80s. But apparently, it's supposed to be really good. The best sound system I ever had was in the BMW iX3. Out of all the cars I reviewed, that had the crispest, warmest, most delicious sound pouring out of the speakers. So I have high hopes for this one. It also has the iDrive, the connected package, so you've got real-time traffic, you can connect your phone to the car and remotely unlock it, turn on the air conditioning through your phone, all the stuff you'd expect for $239,000. It's got it all.
But it wasn't all perfect, as I found out when the sunlight hit Liberace's healing crystals.
I'm getting blasted in the face by that glint from the Liberace diamond on the door over there. Another thing this car has that I absolutely love, it's a bit of a gimmick, but I like it anyway, is gesture control. So I can keep my eyes on the road, put my hand in the general area of this main screen and do this, and it turns the stereo up. Or I can do it the other way around, turns it down. I feel like a Roman emperor. It's fantastic. Out of my way, peons, I'm in an M60. I'm yet to find any downside, but it is early days. There's bound to be something I hate about it. Give me time. Right now, I'm just absolutely loving this thing.
And as I got in line to enter the motorway, I got my very first taste of M Sport acceleration.
Okay, here's my excuse to put my foot down. Okay, ready? Whatever the car is next to me, I'm gonna blitz it. You ready? Here we go. Oh, I want one of these. Okay, that's the first time I got to put my foot down. The combination of acceleration and noise is pretty good. And that wasn't even launch control. Oh, I'm gonna have some fun with this machine. Got to drive across town now, and I think this is gonna be a really enjoyable drive.
I made my way across the Auckland Harbour Bridge, absolutely gliding on a German cloud, strangely disconnected from the noise and chaos of the world. This meant that I arrived to my destination refreshed and ready to tackle a big issue that I'd been avoiding until now, well, once the car had parked itself first.
Monitor surroundings and release brake. We are good to go. My foot's off the brake. Oh, we're going backwards. All right. Yeah, my foot is hovering above the brake pedal. This is so freaky, man. Where are you going? What are you doing? What's your plan? What's your game, mate? Come on. Vehicle's maneuvering. Oh! Man, this is freaky. Can't believe this, eh? We're living in the future. This is amazing. Okay, now that the car has parked itself, amazing, I want to address the elephant in the room. If you go on the internet and you look at internet discussions, you're going to see the same complaint over and over again about this car. The internet hates these door handles. Now, of course, it's not the door handles, you know what it is. It's the front grille. it's big. You can't help but look at it. Even if you don't want to look at it, your eyes are just naturally drawn towards it because it sticks out. It's kind of like David Bowie's Gentleman's area in the movie The Labyrinth. That should have had its own part. But for better or worse, BMW are running with this grille, so we'd better get used to it.
Don't worry about the grille, because there are so many redeeming features in this vehicle, including a wealth of driving modes.
Each different driving mode, be it personal, sport, efficient, expressive or relax, slightly modifies the characteristics of the car, from the suspension to the steering to your solar protection to the air conditioning, to give you the feedback you want, the driving feel you want. I'm going to leave it in sport mode because it's a sporty car and we're supposed to be having fun. This car also has the heat comfort package, which means you get heated seats in the front and heated seats in the back. You also get a heated steering wheel and heated armrests and heated door panels, believe it or not. But one thing this car doesn't have, as far as I can tell, is a V2L adapter. So there's no way of utilizing the 112 kilowatt hour battery pack to, say, go camping and plug in your TV or charge your house, run your house of it. Honestly, with a battery pack this big in this car, you could probably run your house for a week before it would need recharging. I love the contrast and definition on this display. It's some of the best I've ever seen. And speaking of which, the forecast this week looks okay. Forecast looks good for a long distance drive.
And while I pack a bag, let me do a quick shout out to Ecotricity, being New Zealand's only carbon zero certified electricity provider. This means their electricity comes only from renewable sources, and they have the certificate to prove it, and no other power company can claim that. And something for electric car drivers, check out how much money and carbon you can save by joining the EcoSaver plan, which offers New Zealand's cheapest off-peak carbon zero certified electricity at selected times each weekday and all weekend every single weekend. So come and join the good fight, save a bit of cash and get some green cred at ecotricity.co.nz. But now it's time for a road trip.
Good morning, and it's time for a road trip. And if you're the sort of person to buy one of these vehicles, then you probably like the finer things in life, such as taking the family skiing to Mount Ruapehu for the weekend. And where you would stay if you had one of these things is none other than the Tongariro Grand Chateau. So can we make it there on one charge? That's going to be interesting. Let's find out. The battery is charged. It is at 100%. It's preconditioned, so it's been warmed up, ready to go. I put that into the timer and it just does it for me. It says on the guessometer, that guesses how far I can go per charge, it says I can do 550 Ks on a charge. The problem is, those are often California kilometers when they give these estimations. And New Zealand conditions can be quite different. For example, today, it's a colder day, it's 14 degrees right now, it's blowing a gale. That's gonna make a difference. Wind makes a difference to your driving. Let's find out if we can get anywhere near that. Now, my destination today is the Grand Chateau. It's 335 kilometers from where I am right now. So in theory, on paper, I'll have heaps of range left over, but we're gonna be going up a lot of hills, facing a lot of headwinds, and the chateau itself is more than 1 kilometer above sea level. So all of this is the worst possible thing you could do for an electric car. Let's see how it fares.
So we're headed for the motorway, being careful not to waste power by driving too aggressively.
Unfortunately, I can't put my foot down right now and get that epic noise. All the noises that were created in this car were made by a legendary German composer, Hans Zimmer, and there's some B-roll footage on the media gallery at BMW showing him actually going for a ride in one of these cars, and he's waxing lyrical about it, saying, "It's like you're in a rocket ship."
Just that feeling that you're actually driving a rocket.
See, he really did say that, but he created all the sounds that were made in this car, and they're pretty awe-inspiring. It feels good when you get in it and the car goes, "Mwah." All right, let's get up to speed. And when we get on the motorway, I would like to try the adaptive cruise and the lane keeping assist to see how good it is. I expect it to be very good. In a car that you're spending this much money, I expect all the systems to be very good. Assisted driving activated. Set it to 100. All right. Okay, so cruise control's on, it's adaptive, lane keeping assist is on. This is the part where I relax my hands a little bit and see how it goes. We've got a corner coming up. How's it going to go around this corner? Now, as I've mentioned before, Tesla is the system to beat. They have just the most smoothest, intelligent lane keeping assist or autopilot. Oh wow, look at this. That's smooth. Some of the systems I've tested can be kind of nomadic, where the car wallows around. This one is doing a perfect job. It's reducing the speed because the car in front is reducing the speed because there's a police officer there with his laser, and the car's slowing all down by itself, Okay, everyone's got spooked by the police officer and now they're speeding up again, so the car is doing the same. Honestly, this is as good as a person going around that corner. It doesn't wallow around the lane. It's not nomadic. It's doing an absolutely brilliant job. I don't want to upset too many people by saying, is this better than the Tesla system? But honestly, this is very good. And listen to that sound. And what other vehicle can you whisper at 83 kilometers an hour?
As the car was now basically driving itself, quietly, cleanly and comfortably, I asked it to go one step further.
Seat comfort, seat massage. Oh, mama. Oh, that's nice. It's gently kneading my back. This is the life, man. This is the life. If you had the money, why wouldn't you buy one of these things? It's quiet, it's comfortable, it's super fast, it's got all the tech you could ever want, and it's not killing the planet. It's brilliant.
Well, not so fast. As I climbed the Bombay Hills with the battery at 92% and falling, in the interests of neutrality, I managed to find some things about this vehicle that I didn't like.
So you've heard me waxing lyrical about how great this car is. Well, there are actually some things. It's taken 3 days, but there are some things that I don't like about it. Number one, I can see what looks like a light sensor and a speaker through the grille on the dashboard. And I don't really like being able to see that. It's a shame they couldn't have slotted the louvers facing away from me so that I can't see the speaker and the light sensor or motion sensor, whatever that is. Another thing I don't like is that the pillar here is really thick and it does obscure quite a lot of your view. So if you're going around a roundabout, you do have to move your head around to make sure there's no one in that lane as you're going in there. The other thing I don't like is that the steering wheel, like some other cars I've tested, the displays are so wide, the steering wheel covers it slightly. So I like to have the steering wheel down much lower than it is right now. I would prefer to have it closer to my lap. But I can't see the top of the steering wheel if I do that, so I have to have it up. And another complaint I have about this car is it has no spare tyre, just a can of goo and a pump, which sounds like fun on a Friday night. But to repair a tyre, they're often pretty useless. And I found that out when I test drove the Mercedes EQC, which was a fantastic electric SUV, fast, stylish, high-tech, but I got a flat tyre in the middle of nowhere, and all I had was the tyre repair kit. And it was a big stone that was stuck in the tyre, and long story short, I ended up getting a flatbed truck to tow the car home and get new tyres put on it, which was a shame because it marred an otherwise perfect experience. So ever since then, I've been scared of going long distance in cars that don't have spare tyres. Oh, let's hope nothing goes wrong. Oh, and there is one more tiny complaint that's not really a serious complaint, but these Liberace door crystals, when the sun hits it occasionally at just the right angle, you have to be really unlucky, it glints and gleams and it looks fantastic until it hits you in the retina. But anyway, those are the only real complaints I can come up with, which is not a bad thing. There are no fundamental flaws with this vehicle as yet. It seems to be just an absolute pleasure to drive. And if you get the opportunity to drive one of these things, don't pass it up. It is beautiful. It is a staggering slice of technology on wheels.
Speaking of technology, the center display even had a form of augmented reality in which map directions were superimposed over the view from the front-facing camera, making it near impossible to get lost even with my sense of direction. But all those gadgets consume electricity, and it wasn't long before we'd used 50% of the battery's capacity.
Status update. The battery is now at 50% charged. I have used half the charge so far and I've done 241 kilometers. I mean, it looks okay so far, but we've still got 26 k's to go just to get to Taupo, and then we've got another 100 or so kilometers to get to Turangi, and then in the national park area we're going well over a kilometer above sea level. Already we're using about 10% more power in this hilly terrain than I was on the motorway. So it just goes to show that even though my speed's a little lower, we're using more power now. 50%. In theory it's enough to get to the chateau, but just don't know, because we're going to get into some wild terrain, like really mountainous. We'll find out.
But I didn't have to wait long to reach Taupo, which for the first time in history geologists have raised to alert level 1 due to growing seismic unrest.
That is not just a lake, that is the crater of a supervolcano. And if it does go off, well, I don't have to worry about returning the car because most of New Zealand will disappear. So yeah, no stress.
Realistically though, my biggest problem was the distance and the hills remaining to reach the Grand Chateau, and soon enough I'd made it to Turangi, which was home to the last rapid charger before we entered no man's land.
We're getting close. We have 37%, so we should have plenty to get to the chateau. Plenty. in theory. We've got to climb more than 1 kilometre above sea level though. And electric cars, like any car, they don't like climbing. It uses a lot of fuel or a lot of electricity. Off we go. Gosh, this thing is an absolute pleasure to drive. Oh boy, look at the hills. Oh no! 37% charge left. Okay, here we go. I do have the number for the AA, don't I? Yep, okay, good. You might be on a truck. Climbing, climbing, climbing. This car is now climbing. 34% charge left. Rawhide. Well, the guessometer is falling fast. It was 164 kilometres charge remaining just a moment ago. Now it's 149 and dropping. Economy is starting to worsen as we are climbing. My ears are popping. We've got a long way to go yet. We're now on coarse chip New Zealand roads, and you've heard me talking about how quiet the car is. Well, we're doing 100 k's an hour right now. Let's cross over to the sound meter. It's around 73. On average, 73 decibels. That makes this the quietest electric car I've ever tested.
And with the state of charge looking surprisingly healthy despite using a high 22 kilowatt hours of electricity per 100 k's, I was soon approaching the intersection of State Highways 47 and 48, making the turn to the final uphill section towards Whakapapa. At this stage it looked like I had this long distance Kiwi road trip in the bag.
Check this out, man, we've made it!
Arrive at your destination in 200 metres on the left.
Alright! Just under 5 hours, 364.3 kilometres. We put 8.9 kilowatt hours back into the battery pack. Average consumption at the moment is 22.5 kilowatt hours per 100k. How about that? We've made it to the chateau on one charge, 23% remaining. Haha! If I were staying here, which I'm not because this is well above my pay grade, what I would do is I would plug in the car, it would charge up, I'd go unpack, have a cocktail as you do, and then the car would be charged up in the morning for me to go up to the mountain, well there's another one behind me, and go do some skiing. And then I come back down, plug it in again, charge it up, and by the time I'm ready to head home back to Auckland, the car's charged up, I haven't paid a cent in petrol. But what I'm going to do, because I'm on a much lower pay grade, is take this car back to Turangi and grab a top-up.
So I jumped in the BMW and did the same journey in reverse. Not literally, obviously, but as I made it to the rapid charger in Turangi, I found myself with a bit of a problem, albeit a good one.
So there's Turangi, there is a 50 kilowatt fast charger there, but the car says I've got 103 k's of range left. Do you think I could make it to Taupo on what charge I've got left? 18% charge? That might be stretching it a bit. Let's have a look. I mean, in theory, we should be able to make it. 7% charge remaining, it reckons we'll get there with. No way! Oh, let's give it a go. What have we got to lose? Well, it could end up on a flatbed, but it says we can do it. Can you believe it? There's electric car charger. There's no turning back now. Don't let me down, little BMW. Do not let me down. I do not want to end up on the back of a flatbed truck today.
But it didn't let me down, turning this into the longest single distance I've ever travelled on one charge in what was some of the most electric car unfriendly terrain. And before long, I was pulling into the hyper rapid charger at Taupo, still with 8% charge remaining in the car's massive battery.
Here we go. Let's charge. I cannot believe we just did that. How many Ks have we done? This is madness. 461 Ks, I've still got 8% charge left, which is what, 49 kilometers to go. Mind-blowing, absolutely mind-blowing. 6 hours, 15 minutes, so like any normal sane human, I need a break now. You'd be crazy to keep driving after this much non-stop driving. Oh, let's go charge it up. Okay, these things are pretty straightforward to use. Use your mobile app or your ChargeNet key fob. Select your plug. This car, like most modern cars now, uses CCS, which is these two plugs here. You can charge 3 vehicles at once on one of these things. Take the one that's flashing blue, plug it in, and that's it. The car does the rest. Now, I want to see how fast it's going to charge. All right, here we go. It's ramping up. 36 kilowatts, 56 kilowatts. This would be the max speed for a lot of cars, but it's still going faster. 106 kilowatts. 112, 120. Check this out. So how long is it going to take to get to 80% charge? It says 37 minutes. Now I don't need 80% charge. I think I probably only need about 60% to get home. I should add also that the height of the seats on this thing makes it really easy just to slide straight in, and I wouldn't say I'm old, but I am at the age now where if I were to fall in the shower, it's going to be bad. That's how old I am.
While the car charged up, I grabbed a bite to eat and rested for a bit after 6 hours on the go, and before long, both me and the car were refueled and ready to hit the road for the long drive back to Auckland.
Man, we've had perfect weather today, and we are on the road again. We have 476 k's showing of charge, 93%. Now, if you are concerned about the effects of mining and things like that in batteries, I have some good news for you, because the cobalt and the lithium from this battery are ethically sourced from controlled mines in Morocco and Australia. Not only that, the electricity used to manufacture this car was entirely renewable, just like that from Ecotricity. Nice plug. And the interior is made largely from recycled plastics. One thing I haven't actually tried though, after all this time, I've had this car for what, 3 days now? I still haven't tried launch control. So I'm going to change that. When we get into a 100 zone and an empty road, let's see how fast this thing really does 0 to 100.
And I didn't have to look hard to find a quiet slice of open road and to switch the car to sports mode.
To do launch control, you put one foot on the brake, one foot on the accelerator, and basically you mash both of them. All right, the dashboard is red, my heads-up display is red. Here we go. Whoa, 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 wait a minute. What was that? The whole thing vibrates. Do that again, hang on. How are they doing that? This is not just a sound effect, the entire car is shaking like this. Oh, let's just do this. Here we go, head back. Bugger me! Here we go. Oh man, I could get used to this. Oh, what a cherry on the top of a day. All right, one more, just one more. Oh, okay, that was good, that was good. I love it. Oh boy, what a machine. Seriously, it's such a well-engineered piece of equipment. Everything from the sound deadening, to the performance, to the gadgetry like the sunroof, to the stupidly long range because of that stupidly massive battery. The lane keeping assist is so secure, it's so confident, like no other system I've experienced. It's an all-around, well-engineered package, and BMW's designers need to pat themselves on the back for that. Honestly, if someone gave me one of these tonight, I would happily take it home, even with that grille.